we connected on LinkedIn.
Yes, yeah.
You new in here, am I saying that correctly?
I'm an accelerator. I've been in for 18 months. Yeah.
Okay, epic. Okay, that's awesome.
So I'm just coming to the end of my first kind of full year. Yeah.
So you've done the whole scaling up and
exactly.
you're doing that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
All of that jazz. Yeah.
I really enjoyed I got a lot of those days. And this is your first Ignite?
First Ignite, yeah.
Okay, because last year was at Johannesburg, yeah.
Yeah.
Next year we'll be in Cape Town. So
yeah, I'll definitely be there, obviously, in the home city. I was keen to go last year, just stars didn't align on things. But this year, I also just joined the board as a membership chair.
Nice.
I thought I'd better come and represent. You know?
Okay, perfect. I'm on the board for Mark Comms from July, so this is also going to help with that content. And for Cape Town now, like to get guys, I want to get the Cape Town members to talk about Ignite next year, and then they can just use this
as some marketing content
for to come. Because you can see this turnout. It's been amazing.
To share the vibes, Cape Town's representing big time,
60 people, What's your business?
It's called Decode Development. We do bespoke software engineering for purpose-driven businesses. So, we help those businesses expand access, accelerate learning, and save lives with bespoke software products. So we basically help them figure out, like, what software products to build when, and how to build them, and how to build them right. So because you kind of need to align your business strategy and your product strategy and your technology strategy, so we can bring that technology strategy to that kind of conversation and understand, like, what are your business goals, what are your product goals, and then we can advise on, like, what's the right direction to go with your technology. Because inevitably, you've got limited resources. You probably can't do everything you want to do. You probably want to have a website and a mobile app and a chat bot, but you probably can't do all of those, right? So we can help advise on what's the right first step and the next step, and how do we go about building a team to drive the technology forward.
Perfect. I heard you say bespoke, so that gets very interesting.
Yeah.
And the struggles with scaling and that sort of stuff. Are there specific steps that are consistent when a client comes in that you follow or anything like that?
Yeah, so we don't have like a standardized methodology. I think it's something we should probably develop and kind of focus on and standardize. Like I said, we're really trying to understand where you're trying to go with the business, and like if the business is driven, is a tech-enabled business or a tech-driven business, or whether the technology is just kind of supporting the business or something that's working directly with your customers, and then trying to figure out, okay, what technology solutions should we use, and what's kind of unique about your business, and what are your unique needs for your technology. So how can we combine off-the-shelf solutions, and like what do we want to build, and what do we want to build bespoke? Because obviously we don't want to reinvent the wheel. That's like expensive and a waste.
And what's your sort of again, I think it probably called ICP, but what in terms of software coming to you and going, cool, I want to do something, but I've got this stack. What does that look like for you? Sure,
yeah. So we have a couple different services and a couple different kind of clients that those kind of serve. We have kind of some fractional CTO type stuff, which is more just the advisory piece without the build piece. So that's often for like businesses that don't have in-house technology, and don't have kind of experience with tech. And then for sort of more mid-sized and scale-up businesses, then we typically offer dedicated software engineering teams that kind of plug into that business, typically working on like non-core tech. So typically those type of businesses will have an in-house engineering team, but they'll be focused on like their kind of core unique technology, but they probably need a mobile app to run alongside that, or they need a website, or they need to integrate with some third-party systems. So we can come and help out with that so that their kind of core team can focus on their core technology.
Okay, perfect. And have you thought about podcasting at all for the business or anything like that?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out like all of that side of things. Like the kind of marketing and communication side of things is really not our strength. Like my business partner is also a software engineer and kind of a techie. So, we're really trying to figure all of that stuff out and kind of still really nail our ICP and positioning and messaging. And what kind of channels we think are right for us to kind of get ourselves out there. We definitely want to get ourselves out there more. Like we've done a lot of good work, but no one knows about it because we don't talk about it. It's trying to package up those stories, kind of figure out how to deliver them and then where to deliver them on what channels.
So do you talk about them already? You say no one talks about them, or no one knows about them? Secret?
We're not putting them out there, right?
Yeah,
so we're not blogging or podcasting or we're not communicating them in any format.
So one of the ways, and we'll do this we're doing an expert table, so I'm going to give away one of the biggest secrets in the big expert tables. We try to find places where it's integrated in your workflow already,
right?
And all you're doing is pressing record. So if you're having a retro,
sure,
and it's like, or you're having a brief. So we've got a client, the Bespoke got me when you said Bespoke. So we've got a client that does bespoke jewelry,
right,
in the US, and he's based in Puerto Rico. And I mean, to engage with him, it's $50,000 for a piece of jewelry.
Sure.
But then he'll come to you and he does a briefing session with you. Tell him what the jewelry is you want, what's the story behind this beautiful artwork. You're going to spend that much money. There's always a story behind that,
like
something there. And then he takes that story and he writes a design brief for his team.
Sure.
Sends that over to his team. His team come up with the it could be
like initial concept.
Yeah,
or
but it could
else,
be in your way. It would be a process flow, the UX, the user journey of what's going to happen. But they come up with it, and then they show the client. They do 3D renders, and then they execute. They build it in gold or whatever the material is. So now what he does is he just presses record on the interviews with his clients.
Sure.
And he reads out his design brief.
Right.
We combine the two, put music behind it, put the top tails, like make it into a story.
Sure.
And then put it up as a podcast. And that's it. It's like every story is different because it's a unique thing, and there's a minimum viable audience of people that will be very interested in that sort of content. But he's doing it. The point is he's doing it anyway.
Yeah. So it's not a bunch of extra effort that you've got to put in.
Yeah. He
it's
doesn't have to think about like,
journey.
Jesus, it's so hard. Like, there's so there'll be something that you guys are doing. You guys are both techie, and if it happens at the end of the week or end of the month or your team comes together, like what is it that's really interesting, that you would talk about, even like those success stories that nobody knows about, just cool, this is what happened this week, and you're going to do it anyway, but just press record,
right,
and then get people to publish it and promote it and that sort of stuff, cut it up and all that marketing. So and then it becomes an SEO article, and the transcript can be SEO'd, and it build all that is just content. So that's the sort of long form content, but that just attaches and distributes to all the short form stuff.
Nice, I like that idea.
Yeah, so there could be something there to think about. How old is the business?
We started in 2019.
Okay, wow.
So it was kind of an opportunistic thing. It was actually with another EO Cape Town member. We got an opportunity. It's kind of a cool story if you actually want to hear it. So Glenn Gillis from EO Cape Town.
Yes, I know Glenn.
Sea Monster.
I know Sea Monster, yes.
Yeah, so at the time they used to have an in-house sort of tech team. Obviously they're in the impact game space, which is quite different to what we do. So we'd always known about them and thought that we were a cool company. We had a few connections. And at that time they were kind of going through a business transition, and they'd had this opportunity. Well, we didn't know about the opportunity initially, but they invited me around to give them some advice on like where they should go with their kind of tech team. So their tech team was kind of winding down. A lot of the guys had left, and they were trying to decide: do we rebuild our tech team in house? Do we work with some contractors? Like how are we going to solve our technology building needs? So I was telling them about everything I knew about the tech industry, like who the players were, like what was going on. And then throughout that conversation, then they started bringing up this opportunity that they were like starting to tell me about. And then like halfway through that conversation, I stopped them and I was like, okay, forget everything else I told you about everyone else in the industry. Me and my mate Brett, we will come and we will help you with this project. And the project was for an NGO in the US called Lemonade Day. And they have this entrepreneurial program for kids to kind of guide them through designing and executing a lemonade stand as a mini business, to try and teach them entrepreneurship 101 type skills. Okay. And it had largely been kind of workbook based in the past. And they'd had a few kind of forays into tech, but they were having a lot of drop-off rates and the engagement wasn't great. So they came to Sea Monster to kind of design a more of a game or a gamified solution with kind of embedded learning without assessments. So we kind of partnered together. So I stopped him in the middle of that conversation, and I was like, okay, forget everything else. Me and Brett will come and do this for you. So so Brett and I then kind of pitched for the project against a couple of much more established kind of tech businesses. Brett and I were both still full-time employed at the time. So we pitched a few times. We had a few engagements with them. And somehow they chose us, and so then they did all the kind of learning design and kind of graphic design, and then Brett and I and a small team we built the whole solution. So it was a mobile app for the kids and a web application for the mentors, like parents or teachers that are supporting the kids, and the program administrators and the back-end platforms and everything to kind of make that happen. That's been the start of a great relationship. We've done many projects with Sea Monster now.
Jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down while you on another plane even.
So then we resigned our jobs and we dived in and we kind of used that to kind of launch the business. And having now been in business for a few years, I've reflected on that moment many times, obviously. And I'm like, that was a really crazy, risky thing to do. Yeah. And I think at the time, that was one of the biggest projects in Sea Monster's history. And I had lunch with Glenn last year, and I asked him, I was like, what on earth compelled you to choose us? Like, that seems like a really risky thing to do. You chose these two guys to build one of your biggest projects ever with you, who weren't even a business, were still full-time employed with other businesses at the time. So I was like, well, what compelled you to make that decision? And he said it was commitment. So in the pitching phase, during the various meetings we had, Glenn kept talking about skin in the game. Like, he wanted us to show, show us that you care about this and you want to do this. And we were like, well, we don't have anything. We don't have money to put in. Like, what are we going to do? So apparently in one of the meetings, I was like, okay, cool. I will resign my job today. Like, no contract signed, no commitments. I'll resign today. Like, that's how much we want to do this. And for him, that was enough. That was the only skin that we had. And that's what we went for.
Well, that's epic. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Cool. That was great.
Thank you.